Ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between, we are back with another banger. We've got matchmaking every fighter on UFC 300. Okay, to start off, we've got Cody Garbrandt versus John Castaneda. This will probably be on like the UFC 306 card. I'll go through the early prelims quite quickly because obviously we've got a big card. But yeah, okay. Next up, Davison Figueiredo versus Song Yadong. It's a good fight for both guys. I think Davison needs two more fights to get a title shot. But yeah, okay. Then we've got Jim Miller versus Joel Alvarez. I could see this being on the Spain card with Ilia Topuria, and could probably be like a prelim headliner or something. Then we've got Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. Okay, this is one that I'm not particularly happy with, but the reason I've chosen this is because if Paddy needs a top 15 opponent, and I would have said Drew Dober, but Drew Dober's no longer in the top 15, so I think this fight would make quite a lot of sense. But yeah, okay. Next, I'll be honest, I don't even know who this woman is. I matched Marina Rodriguez up with some random woman who was in the rankings who she hadn't fought, and yeah. Also, again, Jessica Andrade versus some bug-eyed girl. I don't know. I'll be honest, this female fight shouldn't have been on the UFC 300. But yeah, then we've got Renato Moicano versus Dan Hooker. I've seen a lot of people saying that they should do Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint-Denis, and I do agree. But equally, I think Benoit needs to take some time off, and I think he'll be back in like September. And I think he should fight Fiziev, who will by then hopefully be back. Recovered from the injury, and I think this fight, I think the winner of the two fights should fight, and then could possibly get in. I mean, it depends on how good of a performance they give, but then they could go on to get a title shot or whatever. That's obviously like 2 fights away, but yeah. Then we've got Jalen Turner versus Drew Dober. Big step down in competition for Jalen. Obviously, not the greatest performance in UFC 300, but yeah. Okay, with the prelims, we've got Giga Chikadze versus Diego Lopez. This is a good stand-up fight. I do think that it favours towards Diego Lopez, and I hope he wins because he's quite an entertaining fighter. He did call out Movsar Evloev, but I don't think he's quite at the point of fighting the number 5. I think he lost to Movsar and he wants to avenge it, but yeah. Okay, then we've got Sadiq Youssef versus Bryce Mitchell. Both guys are coming off of a round 1 knockout loss, so I think this makes a lot of sense. I could see this being like a fight night main event or something, but yeah. Okay, you'll have to excuse the next one because I've gone for Raquel Pennington versus Kayla Harrison, but for some reason Kayla's photo is really blurry, so yeah, excuse that. But yeah, I think that just give Kayla Harrison a title shot. If she was able to fight in June, I probably would have had her fight Juliana Pena, but I think she said she won't be ready for June, so you know, just put her in a title shot. Maybe UFC 306, because I think Raquel Pennington's like, I think she's Mexican, something like that, I don't know. But yeah, then Holly Holm versus, I did research on how to say this woman's name, and now I don't remember. Chiasen, something like that. Macy, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Someone Holly hasn't fought in the top 10, yeah. Okay, then we've got Aljamain Sterling versus Brian Ortega. I got the names the wrong way around, but yeah, I think this is a good fight. I think that the winner of this could get a title shot off of the fight, but I think that you do Max and Ilya next, which I'll get to. I've just spoiled that, but it's quite obvious. And then you do Volk versus Evloev on the UFC 305 card in Australia. And then you have these two fight, and then obviously once the winner of Volk and Evloev has fought for the belt, then one of these two could get a title shot. Okay, then we've got Calvin Kattar versus Edson Barboza. I think this is a good fight for both guys, and yeah, there's not much to say about this one. Then for the prelim headliner, Alexander Rakic is actually going to come up later, so I won't include him for now. But I've gone for Yuri Prochazka versus Jan Blachowicz. I think that the winner of this fight should get a title shot, obviously after Magomed Ankalaev has fought Alex Pereira. Yeah, I think that the winner of this should be in line for a rematch, and yeah, I'd be here for it. And there's also a storyline for both in a way, because you could say that the Jan Blachowicz fight should have gone to him and not Alex, and then you could also say that the Yuri fight was a slightly early stoppage, but yeah. Okay, then for the main card opener, we have, this was a bit of a tough one because we got Cody Brundage and I didn't really know who to match him up with. So I've gone for Bruno Silva, And I think the reason I've gone for him is Cody Brundage is no Chris Weidman. So I think to do this fight for both guys is a step down for the both of them. And I think it makes a lot of sense. They've both had sort of up and down careers. Bruno Silva's gone on a bit of a skid, sort of around since he fought Alex Pereira, to be fair. But yeah. Okay, then Bo Nickel. I've gone for Anthony Hernandez. And I think that this fight should be on... Obviously, I know Anthony's booked to fight on UFC 302. But I think... Well, actually, win or lose, to be fair, I think that Bo should fight Anthony Hernandez. And I think he should fight him on the UFC 306 card in the Sphere. I think that would be quite a good fight. But yeah. Okay, next up, we've got the winner of... Makhachev versus Poirier versus Arman Tsarukyan. I had to fit 3 fighters in, so Dustin's a bit small, so's Islam. But yeah, I think that Arman will get the title shot. I'm sure he will. But I mean, the only other fight for him really that would make sense is the rematch with Charles, because it was a bit of a close one, and I can see why someone would give it to Charles. But I do think that if he won the fight, then you might as well give him the title shot and keep Charles for fun fights. Speaking of Charles, I've gone for Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. I mean, I originally thought, well, actually Charles versus Fiziev would be a fun fight, but if I had to redo the whole thing with Renato Moicano, I think it makes a lot of sense to give Mateusz the shot. He's not actually fought many top level guys. I think obviously his last win was off RDA, who's good, but he's not, top 5. And I think that this fight would make a lot of sense. But yeah, okay. Next up, we've got Justin Gaethje versus Beneil Dariush. I think that Justin should take a lot of time off and probably come back in sort of November. I know he said he was going to be prepared to fight Islam in November. Obviously, he didn't win, so he's not going to be fighting Islam. But I do think that, I think this fight makes a lot of sense. And they've both come off of knockout losses. Beneil's on a 2-fight knockout loss, and Gaethje is off of a knockout loss to Max. So yeah, I think just make this fight later down in the year. But yeah, okay. Next we've gone for Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. This fight makes so much sense. You've got the BMF versus the undisputed champion. Yeah, I don't really need to say much. I don't know who would win this one, and it's a bit of a tough one because, I honestly don't know. And I think if they're going to do it in Spain, then it would be fun to see Max silence the crowd, though. I'm not sure, but yeah. Anyway, next up for the co-main event, the co-main event of this card. This is not a co-main event worthy fight, but we've got Yan Xiaonan versus Amanda Lemos. You know what? I could see this headlining an Apex fight night or something like that. But yeah, okay. Next we've got Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. I've seen a few people saying that Zhang should move up and try and get double champ status, but to be honest, I think for now I would rather see her fight Tatiana. Obviously undefeated, so it makes a lot of sense in my eyes. Yeah, I'd be here for it. I quite enjoy I quite like Zhang Weili. She's got more personality, I think, definitely more than Raquel Pennington. And yeah, I think I prefer her to not Valentina, Alexa Grasso. Okay, now I told you about Rakic. I've saved Rakic to fight Jamal Hill. I think that obviously both guys are coming off knockout losses on UFC 300, and both guys actually had quite a big injury and they've come back. I think that this fight would make a lot of sense, and I saw some people say that Jamal should fight Yuri, but then if Jamal wins, you can't really give him a title shot because he did just get knocked out in the first round. And I think it was the first punch Alex threw. I'm not sure, but it was it wasn't. No, okay, well, it wasn't, because I think he was jabbing to the body. But really, it was the first proper knockout punch he threw. So yeah, I don't think that Jamal should be in line for another title shot. I think if he wins this and then fights someone else, then maybe he could make a case for a title shot. But yeah, okay. Now, for the main event, it's between Ankalaev and Aspinall, but I've gone for Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira. Now, the reason I've done that is because I think that, look, okay, I'll be honest, I'm a bit greedy. As a UK MMA fan, I would love to see Alex fight live. I've never had the opportunity because I'm not one of those people who wants to, you know, screw over my sleep schedule. But yeah, I think personally, I would love to see Alex fight live, and I think, you know what, who's going to tell this guy no? Like, he literally is. He's probably, I think he's the best, I don't know, but he's one of the best strikers in the UFC of all time, I'd say. People who could rival him, Anderson Silva, I mean, maybe Israel Adesanya, but he has beaten Izzy 3 times. So yeah, I think this fight makes a lot of sense, and I want to see Alex become triple champ. I think I would rather he does it than anyone else. Like, I don't want to see, I don't know, Sean O'Malley become I don't think he will, because I think he's scared of Islam. I don't think he'd fight Islam. But I mean, I don't want to see Conor become triple champ, really. He's already done that with double. Let someone else have a go. I'd love to see this fight. Yeah, do it. Don't do it on UFC 301. I don't think. I'm pretty confident that Alex won't be fighting on UFC 301 because they've already started promoting it without him. If they didn't release the trailer and do all the stuff on the website for UFC 301 with like Pantoja and what's his name, Aldo, then I would probably say Alex has a chance. But I think save this for UFC 304. Strip John Jones. I don't care about John Jones anymore. Actually, put John Jones and Stipe. So strip them and then put John Jones and Stipe on UFC 303 International Fight Week. I think that would make a lot of sense. You have that as the co-main event, because then you've got, you know, a huge main event and then an equally huge co-main event. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of my matchmaking in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, love and guidance. I'm out.